You have found yourself on another episode of Locked On Bulls. In today's episode, me and Pat are going to talk about how important the core three are. Giannis Antetokounmpo makes more comments on his next contract with the Milwaukee Bucks, and the NBA approves a new rule. We'll get into all and more right after this.
You are Locked On Bulls, your daily podcast on the Chicago Bulls, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Locked On Bulls, member of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every day. That's Pat the Designer, host and creator of the Windy City Breeze and host of the Chicago Bears podcast over at ESPN 1000. I'm Haize, host and creator of Chicago Bulls and Chicago Bears.
It looks weird when you do it like that. I think they might have to stop.
I know you said you get a little old there, but you got to do it the way you always do it. Because that looked creepy. I'm not even going to front on you, bro. There you go. Today's episode is brought to you by Jase Medical. Empower yourself when you purchase a Jase case, providing you with personal supply of 5 antibiotics that treat 50 infections. Get yours today at Jase Medical. That's JASE medical.com. Kevin Porter Jr. will need those in prison. With that said, Pat, you brought up an interesting topic to talk about, and how important is the core three. But you want to talk about it from a different perspective, which I haven't heard it talked about from that angle. Is that if this core three does get it together, and the Bulls are so good, will they start being more open to trade some of these young pieces to keep the team improved? Now, I'm going to throw it to you. I know this is your topic and your question, but what would be the win total before the trade deadline the Bulls would have to be in to get to that you would think?
How many games before the trade deadline now? Because I feel like they've moved it 17 times on us.
You play almost 2/3 of the season,
right? That's what I'm saying, right? So you're almost to the point where you. Listen, if the Bulls are, let's just say here, if the Bulls are a 600 win percentage,
there you go.
I think that this is a situation that you have to realistically take into account. Now, granted, right, we would love to see the Bulls be a 600 win percentage, but there's a lot of these pieces on this team that I believe, me and you both believe, AK is holding on to because of, I want to see these guys develop. I'm a homegrown guy. We saw them do that in Denver more so than anything. And so realistically, the basis of this is if they're a 600 win percentage, somebody young has stepped up. Will you make a decision to move somebody out of here? That is a key part of this. How important is it for this team to actually be successful? And I think realistically looking at it, right, is there an Ayo Dosunmu that steps up? Is that the time Kobe White steps up and you want to make a move on him? Or is that a time where Patrick Williams steps up? And maybe it's just maybe this is as good as it gets. Let's get him out of here. See if we can sell hope, right? Is that a scenario that's realistic if they're winning? Because realistically, you've got a core here that it should be winning. The Vooch, DeMar DeRozan, Zach LaVine core should be winning. We shouldn't be sitting here talking about, Lonzo Ball wasn't there, so now they're not going to win. It makes no sense.
It does, because they're 3 really good offensive players, but they all have their shortcomings defensively. So you do need those solid role players around them, which you now potentially have in more veterans in Javon Carter and Torrey Craig. Huh?
Defensively, we had them mugs, though, right? You had DJJ, you had Alex Caruso. Well, Caruso was hurt the first year, but you had an Alex Caruso, you had Patrick Williams, you bring in Patrick. You also had
injuries from in that too. So I ultimately when I look at it, for the question that you presented, I don't think that even if the Bulls are winning, unless the young guys if the Bulls are a 600 win percentage and the only reason they're winning is the core three and Javon Carter and Torrey Craig, then yeah, maybe. But I think there's not a realistic outcome in the Bulls being that good to where it doesn't mean one of the young players have stepped up. And I don't necessarily see AK and Eversley moving one of those young players to double down on the core of all people who are about to be over 30 years old. Well, Zach LaVine in 2 years. So I get what you're getting at with that. But I think, if anything, I think that if the Bulls are, let's say they do theoretically get to that mark of being a 600 club before the trade deadline, I think that the realistic part of that is that it must come because of one of the young guys. And then I think maybe instead of looking at jettison one of those guys off, one of the core may become expendable at that point in time.
Yeah, and that could be a case too, right? Is it a case where one of these young pieces steps up and DeMar DeRozan is now expendable, or Nikola Vucevic? I don't know if Vuce is going to be expendable, right? Like
we ain't got no other bigs. It's him and Drummond.
Who's the big that's stepping up? You know what I mean? Like
Nago comes in and averages a double-double.
You already know how I feel about Adamasinago. You telling me he can't be Clint Capella? He can't be a Clint Capella?
He's not athletic as Clint
definitely
Capella.
Not. Clint Capella just jump. What's Clint's talent? Jump. Clint Capella got a double jump. But no, I could see, I think that there's a scenario that could be in place where, yes, somebody else steps up, and the Bulls look at this and say, okay, we're winning. Now we have to move on. And listen, here's the thing. It doesn't even have to be one of those key three, right? It's really about, is the success of this core important? Because say they step up and the piece that they move on from is maybe an Alex Caruso. We move on from a Caruso to try and bring somebody else in. I'll send you an elite defender. You send me somebody that knocks down threes at a higher clip, or you send me somebody something of that ilk, right? I think that that's something where you have to ask yourself, how much is the success of this three important if you're AK? Because realistically, maybe there's a core where, the next core, Alex Caruso is going to be a good defender for a long time. Yeah. That's a piece that you're giving up on that maybe helps out the next core that you establish to be that next level team.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of different ways and scenarios that it could go. I do think that, AK set himself up, like we talked about before, that a lot of these contracts are movable, both with some of the older players and some of the younger players, and we'll see what happens. I think there is that hesitation, though, from front office of, we don't want to let a young guy go, and then we see him 2 years later, and he's like turned into this finished product that we could use. So,
that's Chicago's biggest fear, ain't it? Yeah. With everything, right? Like that you fear. I don't know. Is that just a Chicago thing, or is that an everybody thing?
That's a most team thing, bro.
Because I feel like listen, if I'm a Patriots fan, I don't care when Bill lets people go.
Yeah, that's true. But that's, they're established there. Like, I think that another team like that, for example, I don't think Pat Riley cares. Like, he's going to go for whatever he feels is going to win him stuff now. He can get it done in the draft. He can get it done. I don't think Pat Riley will look at it and be like, hey, I don't know if I want to let this young player go because of XYZ. If he feels like, hey, yeah, you're 22 years old and you could be a hell of a player, but there's this 29-year-old that can get me a title today. Yeah. Peace out, brother. Yeah. So
I guess that's the real question too, right? Which is the path that leads to more success, right? Riley's got that. Right? He's got the rings. He's got the finals appearances. He's got the jewelry that goes with it. So you kind of lean towards that mindset. But then you look at the Warriors and how they did things. And it was that young core that developed out very much like AK wants to do it. Right. So it's a two-edged sword. I think more times than not, you see the development. Actually, I can tell you more times than not, you see the development be the reason why things work. But I don't know what this core's ceiling is or what they expect this core's ceiling to be. Even if this team's a 600 team, what's your expectation on them heading into the playoffs, right? Like, are we really, even if they're winning and we're in the moment and we're excited, I don't think either of us would pick them to go to the finals, even if they're a 600 team.
Bro, they would have to be an 800 team for me to pick.
You know what I mean?
Like, I'm just, call me jaded, bro. Like, I gotta see it, bro. Like, now, if let's say they're a 600 team, let's even say they're a 55 team at the point, and they go on like this deep run and almost make an ECF, then I'm back on board, bro. You can't tell me nothing at that point, but I gotta see it. And right now, I haven't seen enough, bro. I'm still optimistic about the team being able to definitely win more games and hopefully avoid the play-in. But till I'm ready to say they could be a championship contender, we need to do a lot more than what we've done.
This is an Eastern Conference where Milwaukee. I struggled on that. I had a stroke right there. Y'all saw that? Yeah. The Miami Heat made an NBA Finals with Gabe Vincent. So Javon Carter, get hot. You know what I mean? Like,
I mean, they did that with Gabe Vincent and also Jimmy Butler playing out of his mind. And so,
we got a guy that can play out of his mind. Actually, we got two guys that can play out of their mind.
Andre Drummond plays out of his mind every single day, but that's different.
Listen, I thought we were talking about Javonte Green,
Well, we don't have him.
Or do we? We don't know.
He was at the arcade with the team yesterday.
He just kicks it with the Bulls. Is he on the team or not? We don't know.
That is one of the most hilarious. He's just he literally at this point is just a Chicagoan, bro. Like he's just here.
Oh, we knew that as soon as he came in a tracksuit every day, bro. That man had the full jumpsuit on. I said he is selling DVDs out of the back of the trunk, and if you go to the back pages, you know what's there.
He's right at home. But next up, we're going to talk about Giannis making more comments in regard to. Before we do that, I got to talk to you guys about one of our sponsors, and that is Jase Medical. Everyone should be empowered to care for themselves and their loved ones during the unexpected. That's why Jase Medical offers the Jase case. The Jase case provides 5 life-saving antibiotics for emergency use and gives you a peace of mind so that you are not just hoping that you have access to medication in an emergency. Jase Medical makes sure you have the medication in hand. Jase Medical is simple. They handle everything from the online evaluation to the license for pharmacy, medication delivery, and ongoing consultation and care. Don't get caught up unprepared. Save more than $360 by getting these life-saving antibiotics with the Jase Medical Plus. In addition, $20 off by using code Locked On at checkout at jasemedical.com. That's JASE medical.com, promo code Locked On. All right, Pat. Giannis will not shut up about his desire to win another title, bro. Like and I love it. I love every time he says it. I love it. He was on, can't remember the name of the podcast at this point.
Hey, bro, weird pod, bro.
Yeah, it's definitely weird podcast. Weird setup. Weird pod. But he was just talking about it and basically reiterated the fact that he is a Milwaukee Buck. He says he would love to be a Milwaukee Buck for life, but basically he wants to win a title. And if a different team offers him a better situation at winning a Larry O'Brien trophy, that's where he's gonna go. How do you feel about Giannis Antetokounmpo keep making these statements? And if you were a Bucks fan, how would you feel about his statement?
I think realistically, I'd be on board with it because he's telling Milwaukee, stop thinking like Milwaukee. He's telling the Bucks, listen, this ain't no small market team. Stop signing these little homegrown talents. Stop okay, yeah, we got Chris Middleton back in here. That's my boy. I love that. But realistically, right, what else we got? We got Drew Holiday. I feel okay about Drew Holiday, but he got 108 points put on his head top last year by Jimmy Butler. So we need somebody else on his team, clearly, because we got put out in the first round. I think that this is a message to his team, a message to his teammates, a message to the organization as a whole. Hey, if y'all not on board with me winning or with us winning more, and y'all are just okay with this one championship, then I'm not going to be back here. As Magic Johnson once said, I ain't going to be here. So I love it. I love I can't criticize him for this and not criticize other guys who have basically said you have to go out there and win. This is just his way of doing it. The only other thing that I'd say is, if this is a winning situation if this isn't a winning situation in Milwaukee, is Chicago a winning situation?
Yeah, I mean, Chicago has a lot to prove to be anyone's best opportunity at a Larry O'Brien trophy. Let's be clear here, right? And so while the Bulls are in a situation and have put themselves in a nice situation, have ample cap space in 2025, if they hope to be that best for like a player like Giannis, they have to hope that 2 out of these young players at least hit not just a step, but a leap on top of just making smart decisions up until then. Other than that, I do think that realistically, like, we're going to have a offseason similar to when we added Kyle Korver, Ronnie Brewer, Carlos Boozer, where we just add a nice influx of talent. But if we want to hit that out the park home run that is Giannis Antetokounmpo, we got a lot to do, brother. A lot to do.
Yeah, it's it's tough, right? Because this is not a this year thing. This is a 2-year thing, right? This is technically a 2025 thing. So you got to play this season, you got to play next season, and then you get to make the decision. Is 2025 he's out, or does he have his opt-in in 2025?
Yeah, he has an opt-out in 2025.
He'll probably just opt into that and force a trade, right? Mm-hmm. Like I would think like it's like $51-60 million. I guess
I know it's
a lot of money.
Let me look it up just to make sure that I'm right on that. So he has a player option in 2025, and then he has an unrestricted free agent in 2026.
Yeah, he's gonna pick up that option. So realistically,
not necessarily, because if he does plan on staying with the Bucks, he's probably gonna opt out so he can get more money.
Yeah, probably, I guess, because Jaylen Brown's gonna get $60 million, ain't he?
Yeah.
That's wild. That just feels wrong.
Yeah. Yeah.
And y'all complaining about Zach LaVine?
Think about it, bro.
I gotta take the word max out of your vocabulary and realize
you gotta talk about it from percentage of the salary cap. Like, think about it this way.
He makes
like
$60 million. He got no left hand.
we're about to really be in the era where, now keep in mind, when the first $100 million contract was signed, people thought that it was crazy. We're about to start getting into the era where 250 and possibly even $300 million contracts are on the horizon, bro. We're talking about within the next 5 years.
Oh yeah, 100%. Like I think that we're heading towards quarterback football money. Probably not. Well, you know what? I don't know. We might be heading towards baseball money, bro.
Not if you're a Reinsdorf owned baseball team, but yeah, I get what you're saying.
I mean, yeah, 75 mil for 5.
Yeah. I mean, because we're past the fact of quarterback money. Think about it. Joe Burrow just signed the largest contract in NFL history, and he's only averaging $55 million a year. That's like,
didn't Pat Mahomes sign a half a billion dollar contract? Or he's got the most year after
year, yeah.
Because Joe's was what, 250 for 3 or 300 for 3?
Joe has, let's see.
Because I know Pat's is like Pat's goes down as the contract goes on though, but I know his is like a $500 million contract. He gonna have to restructure that.
Definitely, if they want to add anything.
He ain't got no talent. He ain't got no talent.
He got a guaranteed $219 million.
I know that. Yeah,
that's crazy.
He got most of it guaranteed.
That's $93 million more than any other quarterback's ever gotten guaranteed.
Oh, so he got the highest guarantee.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah, I think we're heading to the reason I said like football money to me is different because like literally 4 dudes on your team make stupid money and the rest of y'all make 4 or 5 million. I think that the NBA could be heading towards baseball money where we're talking about mugs making. I mean, like you're gonna have 2-3 people on your team making a $300 contract, $300 million contract. Like that's crazy that we're heading toward that point so fast too. It shows the growth of the NBA, right? To everybody who's like, the NBA is a dying organization. I do think that it was going the wrong direction with how fans viewed it, but I don't think that the TV deals were getting any smaller year after year. So that's kind of crazy, bro. That's kind of crazy.
Yeah, it's wild. Like so hey, Giannis is about to get paid, and we'll see what that future holds for Giannis, and if that future may be in a Chicago Bulls uniform. Highly unlikely, but
Here's the wild part is like the Bulls actually the Bulls aren't the Sox. They actually pay people. We just don't like the people they paid, right? Like Carlos Boozer got a lot of money to come here when he came here.
See, and that's the thing that people always are like, well, the Bulls aren't going to do this. They're cheap. The Bulls just don't pay over the luxury tax. We actually give people money. Look at what we gave Jabari Parker. Look what we gave Dwayne Wade. Dwayne Wade got $40 million for a partial season and to steal Jimmy Butler to the Miami Heat.
Again, stupid. That's the part that irritates Bulls fans. But I think you got to update the narrative. It's not them being cheap. It's them being stupid.
Yeah, it's being stupid with their money. Absolutely. That's a great point. Great point.
Oh, wait, that's me, ain't it? I'd be forgetting about this. I haven't done these, man. Jesus. Ad reads. Hey, want to tell you guys about FanDuel. Why? Because I'm a heavy gambler. Not at all. Get ready for the NFL season with an incredible offer from FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $200 back in bonus bets guaranteed. Plus, all customers who bet $5 will get $100 off NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. I still want to see if I can implement that. Now is the best time to join FanDuel. The app is easy to use, and you can bet on everything from spreads to player props and more. So visit FanDuel.com/locked on and kick off boy, the words looked very different. I thought it said kiss my. Anyway, kick off the NFL season with an offer you won't want to miss. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL.
All right. Last topic of the day, Pat. The NBA has officially approved the resting rule that we talked about a couple of days ago, which brings fines to teams that rest multiple stars on nationally televised games, but it's outside of just nationally televised games. This is a resting policy in general, and I like that because initially it was talked about from the point of nationally televised games. I'm just like, what's the point of that? No, it's the resting policy overall. How you feeling about these new rules, Pat?
I love it. I personally, I think that it's how many leagues hear the consumer. Right? Like we could scream at the top of our lungs to the NFL, to the NBA, or to the MLB, like nobody's screaming for the NHL. And realistically, most of the leagues do not listen. The NBA listened. Give Adam Silver credit for that at a minimum. The NBA listened. And the fact that now, right, like you can't sit star players where like Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum have to be basically one of them have to be available for each game unless both players are determined to be injured. They weren't as bad. I think this is kind of a Greg Popovich rule for one with Wemby, but also the Clipper rule, right? Because there were just spurts at where the team just wouldn't play Paul George and Kawhi Leonard.
Also, I mean, they did that though, because if they play more than 66 games a season, one of their legs is going to actually fall off.
Yeah, but here's the thing. One of their legs fell off and they played less.
This is true.
Which is another reason, right? Adam Silver basically came out and said, Clippers, there's no science to say what you're doing works. But he basically talked about how there's no science right now that says that resting more is going to be better for your body. There's no science that says playing more is going to be better for your body. Now, I don't know what scientist he's speaking to, because in my mind, if I play a lot of basketball and rest, I might be a little bit better. But I also think back to like guys in the 90s who were very much, we're playing all 82 games while smoking a cigarette and on the sidelines, drinking a fifth of Hennessy and maybe doing some cocaine in there, right? Like that's pretty much how 90s basketball, 80s basketball, 80s, more so than anything.
Bro, come on now.
80s basketball,
definitely
more so than anything.
70s basketball, too.
Oh,
like,
70s basketball was no cigarettes, just cocaine. Like
that's the one thing they're leaving out of winning time, because a lot of those guys in winning time were doing copious amounts of cocaine.
Well, I thought season 1 there was a lot of cocaine in there.
There was. They left it out
season 2. Season 2 was getting close to the 90s. We got the coke out the game. But no, I think that this is. You saw those guys playing 82 games all the time. Now, granted, cocaine, right? But you saw those guys playing 82 games all the time. But we saw that in the 2000s. Like, this was a normal thing. People cared about the regular season. And so I love that the NBA is hearing the fan and saying, listen, I'm not watching these regular season games where I know this guy's not going to be there. Why would I go to some of these games? Why would I spend money on some of these games? I don't know what the revenue drop-off was. I wish he had disclosed that. But it would have been really, really interesting to see how much money maybe they end up losing in ticket sales or something during the regular season, because people are like, I don't know if he's going to play.
Now, as we talked about and alluded to, there is no rule in here as far as minutes played. Is that going to become the new load management? Is that not saying that they're
injury management?
I mean, hey, listen, how you manage your load is on you. But with that said,
well, no, I'm saying that's what they're going to call it, injury management.
Injury management, yeah. But like,
hey, you went out there and you tweaked an ankle, right? Right?
Yeah, you tweaked your ankle. Yeah. Oh, your ankle's hurt. But so I do think that that's going to become the new injury management of just saying like, and I'm not saying they're going to say, hey, you play 5 minutes and you're out, but like we may see players that usually play 30 plus minutes. Maybe they do play 15 to 18 minutes in a game. So,
I mean, I think I would be more okay with that because at least you're still saying we kind of care about this game, but we also want to like I'm fine with the players, resting and getting health. You could say he's not going to play a ton tonight or something like that. But like, I think the part that they want to get out of the league, I don't even think it's the load management aspect of it. I think to a sense it is, but I think it's the Damian Lillard, Bradley Beal stuff, right? You got to the end of the year last season and they basically said, you're done playing.
Yeah.
You don't play basketball no more.
Yeah, and I think also the Dallas game against us, for example, was definitely one as well. That was one of the final stars.
2 stars though.
True.
Did they have Kyrie by that point?
Yeah. It's the last game.
They
of the
did.
Season.
That's right. Yeah, they did. Yeah. So, that was the last game of the season. That feels so long ago. Hey man, maybe they just gonna have a Nancy Kerrigan on every team, bro. You know what I mean? Just
how did we get to Nancy Kerrigan?
I'm just saying.
How did we get here?
Maybe they just gonna have one on every team, bro. Where it's just like, you know what I mean? You just sometimes you need a pipe, not like the 80s.
Oh man! Oh, I think that's it.
Not Nancy Kerrigan. Nancy Kerrigan was the one that got hit, wasn't she? Who was
I
that?
don't know.
We need a Tanya Harding. That was a
Tanya Harding. That's
Tanya Harding. You need a Tanya Harding on every team. Just sitting there, just DeMar goes up for a layup, just pink.
That's
you injured, right? Wait a minute, Jesus, brother.
My bad. Did I hurt you? Yeah.
It's been a wild podcast, bro.
It's been wild. Let's get up out of here, bro.
Hey, hold on. Can I say this picture? Can I say if it's let me? Oh, it's not gonna let me save it. When you look up the article, just admire how Chuck has just turned into an old man, and it's the greatest thing in the world. Hey, follow us on everything at Locked On Bulls. You can follow me on everything at Pat the Designer. Appreciate y'all for showing love. Oh wait, I can share it.
Here you go. You can follow me at CEO Haize, the CEO Haize. Man, thank you for tuning in to another episode of Locked On Bulls. We will be back. Bro, close that. That's
Chuck's so old, bro. Chuck's so old, bro. I love it.
Funny, man.
I love it, bro.
Tomorrow, man, and we'll be back with our usual brand of craziness, man. For Pat the Designer, this has been Locked On Bulls. We out, y'all. Peace.
Now all the stuff he say just gonna sound regular because he old. I told y'all back in the day, them boy, they couldn't do nothing with us. Curl.